Hello Intuitors, it's Aria here. Welcome back to the Intuit Cafe, or as I have renamed it, the Intuit Oracle. I am really excited to bring you another week's worth of readings by sign of the zodiac. I'll be diving right into that in a moment. This will be the same introduction on every video, so if you watch or cross-watch for your moon or rising or Venus signs, or for maybe that partner's sign, you can go ahead and skip forward to the start of the reading. And I just wanted to give a little bit of an update about what's going on with the cards. In case you're new to the channel, the project I just completed, creating my own set of Oracle cards, which really is kind of a intermediate step in the process of my ultimate goal, which truly is to be bringing to everyone some kind of useful tools and ways that they can utilize to tap into their own intuition. And of course, Oracle cards are a really good way to do that with what you can feel inside of you the cards are trying to say to you, when it's not the cards actually, it's your higher self. You're tapping into your higher knowing and the knowing of your higher mind. But the thing and the reason that I believe cards as an intuitive tool works is because all they're doing is they're tricking our conscious mind into kind of taking a back seat and not imposing on our consciousness, on our conscious thought, what it thinks. Because our conscious mind, which I call the planetary mind, it's filled with all kinds of programming and preconceived ideas, and it is not tapped into that higher knowing. And if we want to deliberately tap into our higher knowing, we have to transcend the planetary mind, the ego mind, whatever you want to call it. And the cards are a way of helping us do that, or any kind of intuitive tool actually is a way of helping us do that. And again, I've said this before, but I want to reiterate that I also believe that anyone who goes to YouTube and watches readers such as myself or other readers on YouTube, you're still actually tapping into your own intuitive knowing. And that's the reason that general readings actually work, is because for one, I do believe that energetically it's a very fluid way for the universe to interact with us and send us messages. So, you know, for example, we can be prompted in just some little voice or just urge that's like, you know, I just want to go on YouTube right now and check if, you know, readings. And you just happen to go to one person's reading, and maybe you watch your moon sign and you normally watch your sun sign. So like, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're being guided along the way to see the reading that was really meant for you. And even when you're watching it, then you also are still picking and choosing the parts that resonate and the parts that don't. I always get better, more specific, and even greater detailed readings for people that I do individual readings for. It's always harder to read for ourselves than it is for someone else because of our planetary mind jumping in and wanting to say, no, that's not it, or even just not seeing things. Our planetary mind does get in the way. So ultimately, my goal is to create and develop and launch different intuitive tools. These cards are just a stepping stone. I've already gone through the entire process of developing a really kick-ass app for tarot, and I'm going to use Lenormand in it, and really my plan eventually would be possibly to do a lot of different kinds of intuitive tools, oracle cards or whatever, all in this app. I have a way of delivering and helping people create their own messages in that app that's not like any other app out there. I'm super excited about it, but I had to completely shelve the project because I got to a certain point where it was developed and then I couldn't go any further without more money. And I was doing a channeling session with a very close friend of mine where we go in and we channel my higher self, and I'll ask the questions and then she receives the message from her. And again, I'm using her as a tool to kind of bypass my planetary mind that will block those messages from coming into me, which sometimes I do get messages and sometimes I feel like I'm not sure, you know, if I'm getting the right messages. Well, anyway, I asked, you know, how will I get the money to develop this app? And my higher self, whose name is Aria, that's why I go by that name when I'm reading, Aria says, well, you'll do it through some kind of crowdfunding. And I said, okay, so should I launch a Kickstarter, you know, to develop the app with the goal of raising money to develop the app? And she said, no, you'll come up with some other project that will be some other creative project that will raise the money for your app. And then I was like, oh, I wonder what that'll be. And then she goes, no, just stop. you're not going to like get there by trying to get there. If you try to think of a way to come up with this creative project, then it won't come to you like that. It'll just come to you. And the only hint she would give me was that I'll really enjoy doing it, and it utilizes my creative skills and abilities. And so I shelved that piece of information so completely that I had 100% forgotten about it. I didn't even think of it. So then I suddenly got this idea for these cards, and I was so excited about it, and I just dove into it, as you might know if you've been following me and didn't hear from me for a month. And so just completed that, and it wasn't until I was all the way finished with it that I was really starting to think, I think these cards have the potential to do really well. That's what, it hit me. I was like, I could use this to develop the app. I could raise the money for my own app this way. And even then I didn't remember what I had been told by my higher self in that session until later. And it really blew me away because it came true, and it came true exactly the way she said it would, that I wouldn't be like searching for it, that it would just come to me. And I have to say that along the way, the entire process has truly been about learning to surrender my control over things and just going with the flow, creating and manifesting things with the energy of the archetypes of the tarot. Tell us a lot about how to do that, with the magician is the manifester, but the fool takes the leap. And then we have the empress that just attracts things to her. But then we have the emperor that just goes out and gets things done. We have the high priestess, that's our higher knowing that guides us along the way, and so forth. That's the journey of the fool through the major arcana. So that's really what this has been about. And when I'm going to continue to do readings on a weekly basis, because partly just as a gift to everybody who's following me already, and then I want to build a larger audience so that when I'm able to launch the app, we have a place to tell people about it. But in light of all of that, first of all, every one of you, I know you have your own journeys. You come to my channel for different reasons. I do think from the feedback I get that most people are on kind of like some kind of divine love journey, awakening process, where you really realize that you're here on the planet for doing something extraordinary. And something extraordinary might just be how you live your life, that you live your life with so much light and love, and you bring in like a higher way of living and being. But along the way, I think we all kind of have this urge and this desire to create and make something that's above and beyond where everybody's kind of been at on this planet for so long. We really are trying to, we're not just trying to, we really are creating the higher dimensional living, which is where we're all headed. We're all headed into a higher frequency, where we're tuned into, our consciousness is tuned into our true divinity and the power of who we are as human beings, what we can really do and what we can really accomplish. Now, having said all of that, this introduction got quite long. I'm going to try to keep your readings short this week. They're going to be just a quick look at the week ahead. Thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, sharing my channel with others. And before I forget, the final thing is that my Kickstarter is doing really well. I'm at 70% funded, and I really would like to do about twice that many. If you are interested in these cards at all, please consider backing it. Share it with others if you know anybody else who might. And again, think about the fact that these cards are actually going to help bring in something else even bigger. So this is seed money to print a larger printing, which then will help me develop and publish the app. All right, so because of that, I'm going to have a special gift. Anybody who backs my campaign, who's a viewer of my YouTube channel, go ahead and you can just select the $66 package, which is the Oracle Trio of the 3 decks, and I will throw in for you the 10 planetary influencers, which is a $22 value, if you just message me back, and that way I'll make sure that you get the extra bonus without having to pay the next package up, which includes it. So just wanted to give you guys that, just my special gift to you for backing my campaign. Again, share this with others if you are so inclined, and we will talk to you soon. Stay tuned right now for your reading by your sign in the zodiac. Hello Virgos, so we're going to go ahead and do a spread here. I'm shuffling together the nuance and the picturesque Lenormand, so I've got 72 cards all together, and keeping the third deck out separate, we'll pull the spirit animals at the end. I'm going to do a look at the week ahead, and we'll just see whatever comes up, whatever the topic is. And the center card will be the main theme for the reading, and then the cards on the other side will give us some more insight, maybe advice, information, other information about it. And we have tree. So the tree is about being things developing and growing over time, being very vital, a lot of vitality, being grounded. And I even feel like it's kind of like overall a card that could talk about your life in general, your life purpose, your spiritual growth and evolvement, you know, and then in every aspect of your life. It's a very broad card. And so, you know, whether it's about health and physical health or spiritual well-being, but overall it's very, very grounded. It evolves over time. It even can talk about past lives. So this week it looks like the main thing being brought up for you is something to do with your overall growth and health in some way. Ooh, we get third party card for some reason. Okay, so a third person, some other person is getting brought up for you this week. And, you know, it kind of feels like, it's almost like, okay, so they're there, but it almost feels like what's being shown here is the best way to deal with that is to just do your thing, do your growth. You know, you go places, you're going places as in more of a general sense, or even, you know, specifically, and you experiencing abundance with the waterfall, and then you being the boss. The bear is the boss card of the deck. It's also about being strong, nurturing, but even just affluent. So we even see here some kind of aspect here, floods, the flood of emotion or the waterfall is also about abundance, overflowing, affluence, like really succeeding and doing very well. Now, the way this could be talking about why this third person is coming up here, it could mean different things for different people, whether you're in whether someone you're, you know, interested in is involved in a third person kind of situation or not. This is not really a love reading to me, so I'm not seeing that as much as it's like another person in your life. And generally we think of the idea of third person being, it says rival on here, or even nemesis. So I feel like it's just coming up as another person in your life that is a rival in some way, a nemesis, or someone that you feel like has been keeping you from your goals, someone who has been in the way, someone who hasn't been supportive. So even just the fact that they're not supportive of you is in a sense kind of like them being in your way, because you kind of feel like you need their support in order to move forward. When I was married before my ex-husband played that role in my life, I had so many dreams, ideas, aspirations, and goals that I wanted to accomplish, and yet he was very, very threatened by me wanting to create more in my life. And it took me a very long time of handing that away, that power away to him, to tamper my goals down and to hold myself back, before I finally realized how much damage it was doing to me. And I don't mean to make this about me. The point here is that this situation, that's what it's looking like to me. There's someone in your life who has in some way held you back from all of this. And it's interesting that they didn't even come up in the middle here. What came up, they're not the main focus here, but they're like a burr in your saddle or a thorn in your side. So this is a really, really good picture right here. This is your grounded, you're growing, you're experiencing abundance, you're going places, you're creating, you're the boss. And all of that, and yet they're right there in the middle, like, okay, they're in the way. And the real advice here, in a sense, like I was saying at the very first, is kind of like just almost ignoring them. Like in my situation, I needed to leave him, but so it doesn't have to be that drastic though. It doesn't mean you have to, like, you know, cut this person out of your life or leave them. It's just saying there's someone there who in some way their energy is holding you back from all of your goals, dreams, and aspirations. Don't let them hold you back. That's just kind of the bottom line here, Virgo. So yeah, that's kind of what I feel like is the main point of the message, and whoever needed to hear that, there it is. All right, so I'm going to pull a spirit animal card. Well, you know what? He fell out, so we're going to let him be. This is the raccoon. He's the problem solver, and that's kind of, you know, even a sense what we have here. Creative, resourceful, curious, adaptable, and even an entrepreneur. I really felt like this for this reading for a lot of you. It's like you're really creating something pretty big. And you may not even really realize right now how big it's going to be. It's kind of like a step-by-step process, and at first it's like you're making all these big steps and strides, and you don't even really realize how far they're going to take you and how big it's going to end up being in the long run. But that's what's going on here. But the entrepreneurs like that, you know, it's just like doing a step at a time, but you know, being resourceful, being adaptable in the minute. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do next? But not letting anything hold you back. That's the idea here. We've got all that ship, all that movement, all the abundance coming in. You've got this. You can do this. Don't let anything hold you back. That's the message for you, Virgo. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. I do want to just say again, though, if you are interested in having these cards, go to my Kickstarter campaign. And if you choose the $66 package, which is all 3 decks together, I will throw in this extra 10 planetary influencers, which are really fun to use. And that actually, when you pair them with the signs of the zodiac, they make the major arcana. So we have some other great energies in these decks that help expand your possible messages from spirit. All right, well, I'll see you around next week. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing my channel with others.